Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special interview series. I'm Dr. Diana Canto. I'm an optometrist and practice owner, and today we're diving into one of the most exciting ways to grow your practice and stand out from the competition. Creating your own private label frame line for your practice. So, I know from experience that the idea of launching a signature eyewear line for your practice can feel a little bit overwhelming. So, where do you start and who can you partner with? Well, that's why we're here, right? What does that process look like? So that's exactly why we created this series for you. I'll be sitting down with several companies that specialize in helping optometrists and optical shops like you design and launch their own branded frame collections. Each of these companies takes a slightly different approach. Some offer curated, ready to brand collections, while others help you design fully custom frames from scratch. Also, many offer marketing and merchandising tools to help make sure that your collection is a success. My goal here is to ask the questions that you want answered as a fellow optometrist so that you can see which option is the best one for you. All right, so let's jump in and meet today's featured company. So today's company is Private Label by SHO EYEWORKS. What's unique about SHO is their ability to blend ready-made, high-end quality frame styles, giving practices a variety of ways to build their own frame line. They also provide marketing and merchandising tools like digital imagery for your website to make sure that your collection doesn't just sit on the shelf, but really connects with your patients. So let's hear how they approach private label eyewear. So today we have our guest, Edward from SHO EYEWORKS. So, Edward, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company, the services you offer related to private label eyewear for optometric practices.
Hi, everyone. My name is Edward from Private Label by SHO EyeWorks. We started in 2010, so we're into our 15th year as doing this. We started with our partners out in Germany, and we just had felt like there was a need for something like this. We didn't know exactly how to start, but since 15 years we started, we've evolved a lot, and we're so very proud of where we've come and the customers and the partners that we've come along with to supporting this effort in private label. And what we basically do, we provide high quality pre-selected styles that we basically white label. We have an extensive catalog, two different collections, which we can get into a little bit later.
Okay.
But we have over 200 styles to choose from, current styles, and we have
Okay.
another 200, which we also have in our sales section. So over 15 years, we've really curated a lot of selection. But
So it's
quality,
200 styles,
yep,
and each style comes in multiple colors, correct?
yeah, anywhere from 4 to 6 colors we keep in
Nice.
inventory. Yeah,
So I want to talk about why private labeling is beneficial because maybe we have some colleagues that say, yeah, well, I don't even know what that is. Why should I
yeah,
do it? What are the main benefits of private label frames compared to, for example, I know we have colleagues that say, oh, I have to have XYZ brand
yeah,
because if
yeah,
not, patients are not going to come to me, right?
yeah,
And you can have those, but
yeah.
what are the benefits of having your own private label brand?
Well, the biggest thing is exclusivity. So you have a brand that is yours and you can really market that. I mean, I think a lot of offices or practices, they forget about the most important brand, which is their shop. It doesn't have to be your name or your shop, but it has to be something that really complements who you are as optometrist or as an optician or an optical shop that really emphasizes the services you provide. Because I think that's so undervalued. And the services that you provide, you just can't get that from going online or going to certain, box stores, big box stores. And the services you provide really are what we are here to support. And that's why we focus on quality, on making it just very easy for you to have your own brand, because we know how difficult it is. Because we've had our own brands in the past, but we felt like this was a need that optometrists needed. And so we have so many success stories that we're working with. So I'm just super proud that what we do, and that we really do support independent optometry. So
And let me tell you, we need that support, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I have been doing private label for quite a while.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I tell my colleagues is yes, the service you provide and how you make the patient feel after the eye exam is really important. But what happens when they go out into the dispensary to get styled in their eyewear and you have your optical filled with brands that they can easily go online and buy a lot
Yeah.
cheaper? And they can buy them a lot cheaper because either this frame company directly sells to your patient online,
Yeah.
or because you're buying frame lines that also sell online
Yeah.
to your patient. So, one of the things that I felt has been so beneficial in my practice is when you take the time to style that patient.
Yeah.
And the patient absolutely loves the frame. They love how they look, they love how it feels. And then they say, well, what brand is this? And you say, oh, this is our own in-house brand,
Yeah.
right? This is our brand. And they decide, well, I really loved it, but I'm going to see if I can find it cheaper online.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going to,
Yeah.
because it's your private label brand and
Yeah.
they can only purchase it in your practice, right? Because they can't find it online.
Yeah.
So if you have been experiencing a lot of walkouts with RX, or maybe
Yeah.
your capture rate is not where you want it to be because you think maybe patients are walking out because they think they can find something better or cheaper, what if you have beautiful curated frames for your patients and you train your staff and they style them and they love that frame so much that it doesn't matter what it cost because they tried it on, they love it, they love how it feels, they love how
Absolutely.
it weighs, love how it looks on their face, and they're not going to go anywhere else. And so
Yeah.
I feel like that is such a unique thing to bring to your patients, is that private label, is having the ability to train your staff and say, this is the best eyewear for you, for your prescription, for your lifestyle. And they would not think of going anywhere else to
Yeah.
buy their eyewear.
And I feel
So
like with our selection and our pricing that we offer, not only to the practice, but ultimately overall value to the patient, because we realize that you're running a business that you have to stay competitive, and they're being bombarded with online like advertising or the big box stores saying
right,
this and this and
everyone's looking
that.
for a deal, right?
Yeah,
Everyone's looking for a
absolutely.
deal.
But you sort of pay for what you get what you pay for, right? And
Absolutely.
then a local independent optometrist, you get way more, right, than you'll get everywhere else that you try to cut corners. So we want to provide not only the quality product, but a price point where really allows you to make your margins, run your business profitably, and also bring that value to your patient. And so we do have a very unique way of selling our product. We have wholesale pricing, which we decided to keep our wholesale pricing, obviously, because that's B2B business. But we have something what we call our partnership program, which we
Okay,
actually, it's a subscription.
we're going to
So
get into
I'll
this.
let you
We're going to get
ask
into this.
questions.
Okay, because this is getting really juicy. Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about profit margin. So
Yeah.
something that I want to address with my
Yeah.
fellow colleagues is optometry school did a phenomenal job preparing us to be eye doctors, right? Eye
Yes.
physicians.
Yes.
I think practice management and all of that, I graduated a long time ago, but it wasn't a lot of business acumen that was
Yeah.
taught in optometry school, right? And the reality is we own a business.
Yeah.
Yes, we own a practice, but we own a business. And what is the definition of a business? Is there needs to be profitability for it to continue, right?
Yeah.
And I know that that P word, profitability, sometimes makes some of my colleagues cringe,
Yeah.
but I want you to look at this way. If you are not profitable, you are not able to stay open, you are not able to uh, help your community see better so they can live better. When you own a business, you provide jobs for your community. And optometry, and this is a job that is very rewarding. Like there's not a lot of jobs where people come in, they get an eye exam, they get their glasses, and wow, they can see, right? You are giving the gift of sight to your patients.
Yeah.
If you want to continue without burnout, you need to be profitable.
Yeah.
And when you are profitable, you can pay your staff better
Absolutely.
and they're happier. You can give them more incentives, which makes them happy. You can buy equipment because there's profit and it makes your job easier. So when we talk about profitability, the dispensary, your optical, it's important that you take the time to really create a strategy for your practice, for your sales, right? Yes, it's important to see patients. Yes, it's important to, do everything we do, which is why we're here. But if we have a private practice, it's also important to treat it like a business. And that's how we're going to talk about profitability or profit margins. So
Yeah.
share with us, what are we looking at as far as profit margins that practices can expect with your collection?
Yeah, absolutely. That's like, I didn't go to business school. I started this business after being a rep for 10 years. And, I'm just slowly learning the business side of things, like terminology like KPIs, key performance indicators. And once doctors start talking about KPIs, I feel like they're then starting to think about profitability because there's so many variables, right? You have to
Right.
consider so many things when running an optical. And I realized like the optical is usually the last thing that you're focusing on because it's a whole nother full-time job running a business besides doing all the uptime. So I get it. I try to be very patient. But the best thing is when, obviously we're referred by other doctors and things like that. But as far as the great thing about exclusivity is that it gives you a little bit more range where you can price your product for your demographic. So, I have shops that carry all the highest boutique lines and their highest like their lowest price point is for a frame is like $500. So when they bring in my private label collection, they're marking it up like with my partner pricing, even wholesale, at the minimum like 7 to 8 times, and to the most like 10 times with my partner pricing, which makes it the least expensive frame in their shop. That's one extreme. The other extreme, people have who take a lot of insurance, and I have offices that don't want to ask for out of pocket, so they
Right.
use my product at my partner pricing, and they're just doing more volume at that point. So it depends on, the volume of patients that you have, the demographic, the community that you live in. And it is a community service. I mean, it's something that you're providing your community and how much capacity. Obviously, if you have too many patients, you want to, do something about your business.
Right.
But before I get all over the place, focusing on what's right for your office, it's different.
Right.
But obviously, there's good best practices for averages and things like that. And with the insurance involved, it makes everything more complicated. I can't even
Right.
really explain the ins and outs of all that, but I know that some of my customers, one, for example, being, I don't know if I can mention, the Southern College of Optometry. They take, they're in Memphis, and they take every insurance. And basically, they've expressed to me that our private label works perfectly to get the maximum reimbursement and things like that, because we do have that wholesale price. Which the reason why we have our wholesale price and then we have our partner price is because the problem with once your price starts going south, it tends to come with like low quality, poor, and then people want it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because they think, well, we're making it for pennies or dollars, which is not true. Like we are focused on high quality acetate and titanium frames, mostly titanium. So we don't want to devalue our frames. So
Right.
that's part of the reason why we have a wholesale price that a lot of my customers still pay wholesale. But
Right.
ever since I've introduced our partnership program, which we started pre-pandemic, good 7, 8 years ago, that has really made the difference for, and 9 out of 10 times, um, people who are signing up to start business with me, they sign up for our partnership because
Right.
you're saving an average about 40% off wholesale price.
Okay, so
And
let's go
yeah,
back to
yeah,
the partnership. Okay, so when we talk about margins,
yeah,
usually if you are buying from XYZ brand,
yeah,
right, you can only mark it up so much, because if that eyewear brand is sold online cheaper,
yeah,
how does that make you look?
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Patients are going to be like, you're gouging us because I found this frame online, the exact same frame, for $100 less than what
yeah. And
you're
it's happening.
selling it for. Right.
It's
And
happening
you have
all
to
over.
sell it for more because your stuff is not in a warehouse, right? Yours is on display. You have to pay people to clean your display. You have to pay your staff.
Yeah,
So your profit margin is a lot lower because you can only mark up so much. But when you're doing private label, you decide how much you're marking it up, knowing that the quality of and the craftsmanship of what you are offering at SHO EyeWorks is top of the line, right? There,
yeah,
you're not going to have a bunch of issues with defects because it's very well crafted. And the
yeah,
patient tries it on and says, "This feels nice. It feels luxurious." So you are able to mark it up 6, 7 times because first of all, they can't find it online. It's unique to you, right? It's got your name on it, and you're able to mark it up more because they can't find it online cheaper,
Yeah.
right? So now we're going to talk about the partnership. So you kind of have two tiers. You can buy your product wholesale at a
Yeah.
reasonable price for what you offer,
Yeah.
or you can go into a partnership. Tell us about that.
So the partnership started, sort of out of desperation that we sort of hit a wall. When we started the company 15 years ago, the first 5 years we were like doing great. We were opening up accounts left and right, and we were selling to mostly high-end shops that were a
Hmm.
little bit more progressive. They're more focused on optical. So they understood the whole idea of making their own brand, and they love the quality. They love the style. We actually just started with 20 styles. So we started 15 years ago with 20 styles, and then we've grown it to 200. And basically, we've allowed our this partnership program. Let me just stay focused here. We really needed to. We sort of hit a wall after 5 years because we realized for us to get more into more offices, especially optometry offices that have more volume, like we need to do more volume. I mean, this
Hmm.
this industry, if you're not doing certain volume, it's very hard to compete
Well,
and
Edward, let
also
me tell you, that's
yeah
how other frame companies and other frame distributors do it too. So if they say, okay, if you buy this much a year, you
yeah
get this discount. If
yeah
you add this other line and this, if you carry three or four of
yeah
our
yeah yeah
lines, you get a discount, right?
yeah yeah
And this is important because you're running a business, you want to keep things simple. So
yeah
one of the things that I tell my colleagues is you're probably buying from way too many frame distributors,
yeah yeah
right? You probably want to keep it simple. Do maybe your value line, right, for those price conscious customers or patients. Then you're going to have your mid and you're going to have your high end,
yeah
right? And keep it simple. Some offices do business with 20 different frame
yeah
companies. That's too much, right? So by
absolutely
having this partnership, you're able to take advantage of a better pricing
yeah
while also making sure that you have product in stock,
yeah
right? To be able to continue. Because if you sell all your product and then you don't have no product to sell, then what's the whole point of doing private
yeah
label, right? If you're only going to do it for a couple
yeah
of
one
styles.
of the questions that come up all the time is what's our MOQ? What's the minimum order? And I know
Okay,
that's asked with any brand and collection
right.
that you bring in. The good thing about us, we don't have a minimum. Like we don't
Mhm.
know what your board space is. We don't know, but we of course recommend, but I have customers that start with 20, 30 frames just to get started. And then I have customers that carry 500 frames. I mean, that's an extreme,
Right,
but I have customers that carry like 100 to 200 pieces of their stuff. And they can have multiple brands with us. So it's
right.
not like you,
Okay, so let's walk us
yeah,
through what the process is or what does
yeah,
the process look like. So I'm ready. I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
start my own private label and
yeah.
how do I start?
Yeah. So one thing I recommend is just register on our website, which is free to register, so that
Okay.
you can view our full catalog, view the pricing, view our partnership details, partnership, all that stuff, and basically look over our catalog. And we can also send you some samples. And we have
Okay.
reps throughout the country, and then we're at all the major trade shows.
Okay.
So after you do that, I recommend think about a name that you want to come up with, whether it's the shop name, whether it's the doctor's name, or your kid's name. It could be the best name. I mean, not the best. I have a customer out in Texas, in the Austin area. They used something that I had sort of marketed on a postcard. I was launching a brand, and it had said "frames with benefits."
Oh, I
And
love
she
that.
has a sense of humor. And so she said, I want that name, Frames with Benefits. I'm like, and then her staff was looking at the product with me, and half their staff was like, no, we don't want that. And the other half were like laughing, and they were like, we
So
want
half
that.
was on board and the other half was
So you could be creative. You can even
uh-huh.
have a contest in your shop or in your office who comes up with the best name. You vote, and there's so many ways to come up with a
Right.
name.
Okay, okay.
But
So
yeah,
we sign up on your website.
yeah,
We get to browse the catalog of frames and you get
yeah,
to see
yeah,
the prices. Then you decide on your logo.
yeah.
And then what?
Then you find a way to
You
either
buy, you decide how many
select
you're
your
going to buy.
frames, which you can do on our catalog, put it in your
Okay.
cart. We have a way of putting all your favorites into one page so you can see it all laid out. That's another thing
Okay.
we offer. Another thing we do, you can upload your logo, and then you'll
Okay.
you'll see your logo there instead of my logo. And little things like that we provide. But then you have to decide you want to. purchase at wholesale, or do you want to sign up for a partnership program? So our
Okay.
partnership program, it is a subscription-based model. There's
Okay.
no long-term contract. It's a month-to-month thing. Although, we don't allow customers to sign up for 1 month, buy a bunch of frames, and then cancel, and then come back to
Right.
me a year later. So, I mean, we have a relationship still.
Right.
But once you sign up for wholesale, we need a credit card on file.
Mm-hmm.
And for the partnership, it is $75 a month,
Okay.
which gets you the discount in pricing, which on average, I said about 40% off the wholesale. You get an
Okay.
extended your warranty from 2 years to 3 years. And
So the
basically,
wholesale has a 2-year warranty,
yes,
and
yes,
the membership subscription, they have a 3-year warranty.
3 year, yeah.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we have a point system. So every time you purchase, you earn points that turn into credits. So, there's ways to
So there's some
incentivize.
incentives
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay. So
Because
in
we
addition,
really
okay.
we really encourage you to not buy too many from us. We don't want you to stock hundreds of frames. A lot of other private label companies, there's an MOQ. You have to buy
Right.
100 pieces of a certain style, or if you're making from scratch, you have to buy like 200 to 300 pieces of that style. Of course, you can get multiple colors, which we could also
Right.
provide for you. But we want to make it easy where you don't have to understock. You don't have to keep the same. And because our turnaround only takes 2 to 3 days,
Okay.
patient
Okay.
orders can go out the same day. So I know
So
I'm getting more into the
no, no,
details,
no,
but
but this is good.
yeah,
So to reiterate,
yeah,
let's say, okay, I'm going to go with a membership. I pay $75 a month. I pick my frames. I get them up to 40% off.
yeah,
And how long and you said the turnaround is anywhere from like 3 days, three
yeah.
to,
Once you confirm your logo, we keep
hmm.
that on file. And then whenever you place an order, it'll go out in a couple days
Okay.
with your
So
name
now
engraved onto the frames.
I'm subscribed.
Yeah,
I want to know because maybe I'm not ready to do it right now, but I
yeah,
want to put it into my budget, my
yeah,
frame budget
yeah,
in the future, maybe next quarter,
yeah,
maybe next year. How much on average, right? Because it
yeah,
depends on how many you order. What would be the investment? Like if I'm thinking I want to bring in my own private label, I want to start this, I want to start making better profit. I want to
yeah,
offer my patients a curated, high quality collection
yeah, yeah,
with up to 3-year warranty. And how much is my investment? How much do I need to start?
yeah. So on average, we see shops opening up with anywhere around 40 to 50 pieces,
Okay.
especially, whether it's wholesale or partner pricing. That's a good place to start, even though we don't have a minimum. We do have some promos for introduction and things like that, and we usually offer it during the shows, and which I'm more than happy to share here as well. But basically,
So they heard it here. Make sure
yeah.
that you ask for the show promo you mentioned.
Exactly. And the show is year round for us. So, because we do encourage a lot of this to happen online. Of
Right.
course, we want you to touch and feel the product, which we can send out, which we call laugh kits, which is look and feel try on kits. We ship to you free of charge, and we send you a return label to ship it back to us. And of course, usually we're word of mouth. So another office is referring another office, letting them know the quality's there. So once you choose your frames and I would budget maybe starting about $2,000
Okay.
to get started with 30 to 40 pieces, or of course with our membership, it's $75 a month, which is $900 a year. So you put that into I always say like the $75 a month is the equivalent of two or three purchasing two or three frames at wholesale. So the break even. If
Right.
you're gonna sell two or three frames of your private label, that's the break even. Everything more selling more than three frames plus will get you the real benefit, the profitability, the margins, all that. So,
Right.
and I know that we're probably the only subscription-based eyewear company. I know doctors are paying a lot of subscriptions for services, for a lot of things like that. But because we're a small company, independent, we were able to implement this subscription model fairly easy. Well, it wasn't easy in the beginning, but now because people are used to it, I
Right.
feel like it's easier to get people because you do save a lot of money. But
Right.
we do ask everything up front. So there's no terms. If it's a pretty large order, of course we can offer some terms like 50% up front and then the rest after 30 days. Um,
Right. And that's
but
very generous
yeah,
because
yeah,
if you were to start your own frame collection,
yeah,
you would need massive quantities and you would have to pay up front. And
yeah, yeah,
a lot of times they a lot of companies, they say, well, you have to buy 300 of one style in three
Yeah,
colors. And
yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, it's great if you have 30 practices, but if you're just one, this is a great option.
yeah,
Now, I want to get back to by having the subscription, you will benefit by just buying around 3 frames a month, right?
yeah,
So, what do you provide practices to help with the marketing, right? So, the
yeah,
branding, the packaging, the point of purchase, any staff training, because the
yeah.
staff has to be on board. I know you mentioned it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
If you say, "Oh, guys, I just bought 50 pieces of frames and it's got the practice logo on it, go sell it."
yeah,
They might. However, if you involve your staff,
yeah,
especially those opticians that are passionate about, quality eyewear, right?
yeah,
Styling the patient in the best frame for them for their
yeah,
prescription, and they look at your frames and they know that they can come up with the branding, right?
yeah,
Make sure that your staff is on board, and
yeah,
well, at least your best opticians, right, are on board because they'll get
yeah,
it.
yeah. And
But
like you
tell
said earlier, if the optical's profitable, everybody benefits. You can pay your employees better. You can incentivize them a little bit more. I mean, I have a lot of offices that do spiffs or
Mhm.
incentivize every sale of their private label.
Right. And
Um,
because the
yeah,
profit margin is
yeah,
higher, it's
yeah,
a win-win because you're
yeah,
able to take some of that profit and
yeah,
give it back to your staff,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
always great, right? Because
yeah.
who doesn't want to make more
And
money?
I mean,
Right.
you want to tell your story, right? Not only
Right.
as an optometrist or a practice owner, but you want to tell your story of who you are, and people want to get to know you. It's a relationship. Like I love my dentist, I love my eye doctor. I have a relationship with them because I've been going to them for all these years. And so, like, you want to tell your story, you want to introduce yourself, and having a product that really speaks to the core of what you offer with quality, with selection, with style, and of course, employees that are motivated,
Right.
that are motivated sometimes through incentives, through spiffs and things like that. But we do offer some training on that, but it really takes the practice owner to take ownership over this
Right.
and sort of position it well and saying how this is going to create easier sales, easier
Right.
capture rates, better margins for us to run this optical better and be more profitable. And then like we do offer cases, although we don't private label. We don't put your logo on that. There's
Okay.
so many ways to get cases,
Right.
but we do offer quality, really nice. We just came out with some new cases that I helped design, so I'm really happy. After all the years of iterations of cases, I think
So
this is the
they
best
can
one
get a
yet.
case, just the case won't have the branding
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and it comes with a cloth as well, without logos on it. We
Okay.
do offer, so one of the special ways that we private label or white label your frames is we engrave it into the frame. So it's not
Okay.
just printed on where it's just gonna
Is that
eventually
just
rub off.
stamped?
It's not just stamped,
Uh-huh.
it's engraved in. And our partners in Germany, they insisted that the machines that we get to engrave, that they get engraved. I mean, now you can laser it, and we do have a laser
Hmm.
engraver as well, but it's engraved into the acetate. And it comes out very clean. We do logos, and um, of course we have certain limitations with your logo. If it's a huge, quote, we can only work with the space that we have with the temple.
Right.
We don't do logos on demo lenses or the outside. We only provide it
Okay.
on the inside. The reason we just want to keep it simple so that
Right.
we can do a quick turnaround.
And do
And
you provide like point of purchase material?
yeah, so we do
Okay.
have name plaques that we
Name
put.
plaques.
We can put
Okay.
a different logo if you have a bigger, fuller, more fuller logo.
Okay.
We can offer you those. Everything's on the website. We have a catalog section for all that stuff as well. POP cases. We have, customers buying just cases from us because they love our cases and they feel like it's and as a partner, you get them discounted as well.
Nice.
And it's optional. The cases
Hmm.
are optional, just to let you know. Um, but we provide all the catalog images. If you can just pull it from our website. If
So
you
like
want,
digital imagery, you're
yeah,
able to
yeah,
provide digital
yeah,
imagery.
yeah,
So the perfect
yeah.
social
And I know a
media,
lot of optometrist offices are setting up their own retail shops. I know that there's like,
like
you know,
online
yeah,
shops.
online,
Uh-huh.
as a way to have their patients engage online and they
Right.
come in, they try things on. So I know that's happening, but so we're very open to providing all those images.
I'm a
And
big believer that yes, show one or two, but you really want to get them to make an appointment. Like that's where
yeah,
it starts,
yeah,
right? Make the appointment,
yeah,
come see me, come experience the eye exam, experience, what it feels like to be
Yeah,
in the office.
yeah,
So, what advice would you give a practice owner that's maybe hesitant to
yeah.
start? Like, oh, this all sounds really good. 2 grand is reasonable. The product sounds really good. They have a really good warranty. I can have digital imagery. Oh, but I still don't know. What advice do you
Yeah.
have for them?
Well, I definitely advise not to do it as a novelty, like something, oh, because usually that's just doesn't really get you very far. Just
Right.
it's a novelty. Oh, we have something with our name on it. I mean, I really would advise to consider what are you using for your core product?
Mm-hmm.
And, I really encourage, especially with everything online now, all the stuff that's out there, you want to stay away from the low quality stuff
Right.
because that's just going to come back and it's going to come back broken, or you're going to have to deal with a unsatisfied patient, or
Bad
just
reviews
bad
because
reviews,
yeah.
all these kind of things. And then, your practice, you have more important things to do with the time that you're taking care of
Yeah, you
patients.
got patients and eye exams to do, right?
Yeah, so I would really consider what you don't need. If you have too many lines. But I really see the successful accounts using our private label, the ones that really make it a core part. And even in high-end boutique shops, you want to sell that second, third pair. Um, that they want to just throw in the car, and this is a great opportunity. And then if you obviously for insurance, we're all, approved. We give you a higher list price in order to get the
Okay.
maximum reimbursement. Um, and so we really, my advice is just part of it is just to get started, which we make
Right.
it very easy with no minimums. But we do have an intro, show special that I can tell you about once you contact me,
Of course.
and you won't believe it what I have to offer. But my main thing is just get started. Really, we encourage you to sign up for the partnership program, which, like I said, there's no long contract. Um, Once you get started, you can always evolve and you can always grow it.
Right.
Maybe you're lacking in men's frames or you're lacking in small petite sizes, then you can come to our website and we have a filtering system that you can filter some of that and see what we have for that demographic.
Right.
Um,
So, for example, it's important that as a practice owner, you carry frame styles and sizes
yeah,
that align with your patient demographic, right?
yeah,
So by having 200 styles, if you already know, for example, with me, I see a lot of people with very wide PDs,
yeah,
wide faces. So I know that my average eye size for men is 56,
yeah, yeah.
right? So then sometimes it's really hard to find bigger frames
Yeah.
or wider frames.
I
So
believe right
you have
now
control. Yeah.
our largest frame is a 5960 eye size.
Right.
And
And
we have
and
a few of those.
right, but there are companies that don't even carry those sizes,
Yeah,
or worse, they give some very um derogative names to
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
big or wide or and
yeah, yeah,
you don't we don't want to make it about the size. We
yeah,
want to make it about the fit. But
yeah,
having a selection that aligns with your patient demographic is going to, one, make sure that your capture rate goes up,
yeah,
because now people are finding maybe not one, but maybe 2 or 3 frames that they love. And that's one of the things that happens to us, where
yeah,
patients will tell us, I used to go to this chain and I could never find frames that fit me. And you guys have such a big variety of wider
yeah,
frames. Or if you have a lot of petite patients,
yeah,
right? Women don't want to be wearing little girl eyeglasses. They
yeah, yeah,
want a petite size.
yeah,
So if you have a collection that are more petite, you
yeah.
want to focus on buying those
Yeah, so you
styles.
can definitely curate with our selection, with our quality, and you can price it where you really need it in order to get that capture rate up from people walking out the door, and really just maximize your sales opportunities in so many different ways.
Right.
And one of my customers that uses this, I think, in the best way. They do a lot of insurance. They they also offer, if you don't have insurance, good discounts for people walking in without insurance. So I think if it's okay for me to share,
Oh,
um,
yes, we
I,
would love for you to share some
yeah.
success
So
stories of,
throughout the
because
15 years, like I
this
think,
there is
yeah,
no I mean, the reality is vision plans
yeah,
are the reimbursement is not ideal,
yeah, yeah,
right? So by having your own private label, you're able to better manage your profitability and
yeah,
your margins. So please share this story, because I think it's so insightful.
yeah. So I mean, I've heard it from multiple doctors that they want a product that patients don't have to pay too much out of pocket, but they want to show like this is Not you can pick from here, and then you can pick from our private label collection with a little bit out of pocket. And that little bit out of pocket makes a huge deal in the sale
Right.
from what I'm sensing. And so if you compare that to this, it's a no-brainer for most of the patients who look at the selection that we offer versus what the insurance companies are offering. So I really think that it is an opportunity to really give value to your patients. And like I think a good model that I've seen, they mark their partner, and to I have two different collections. One we call our white label, and the other we call black label. They do both collections. They have two different brands. They focus one on women and focus one on men, and they market it. They price it the base price about 279 to, I think it's gone up a little bit to like 259. Yeah, two. I'm sorry. Let me look at my notes real quick before I'm not going to mention their names, so it's okay.
It's okay.
But yeah, I know
We
I
don't
wrote
need
it.
to know the name. We just want to know the strategy so we can implement it.
Yeah. I mean, I have this whole thing that one of my customers provided me with every insurance company what their reimbursement is, and but the retail price that they put it at is 279 to 359, depending
Okay.
if it's acetate or titanium. And then they're buying the frame from me around 36 to, I want to say 55 if it's titanium and it's a little bit more designed out. And obviously that margin is about 7 to 8 times. And then
Mm-hmm.
even if you're buying at wholesale, we've always encouraged minimum 4 to 5 time markup.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take all the insurance out, it comes down to about two and a quarter to 250 for
Mm-hmm.
the price that. So if you're buying it at 36 to 42, which is acetates, and then titaniums go up a little bit more, that margin is with the quality product.
Right.
Um, the objective for every good business, profitable business, is that your sales is growing, but your overhead should come down if you
Right.
can. Obviously, if you're doing volume, you try to negotiate discounts, you try to do this and that. But with us, that really from off the bat, I think as long as you implement it well, you'll see your growth, your sales growth, your capture rates grow, and then you'll see your overhead come down
Right.
because you're not spending money on all these different brands, on expensive brands, and brands that you can find out there. Yes, you need certain brands to draw people in that they're asking for, but you really want them to find the right frame that fits them, that's comfortable, that's good quality, that you will stand behind,
Right.
that we stand behind, and we warranty. I mean, we have a lot of our customers that give us quotes. So if you go to my website, there's about
Mm-hmm.
7 or 8 quotes from my customers, and you get to know who they are, exactly what they feel is the strength of why they do private label, and quality is always the most consistent thing with us.
Right.
Quality, and of course the value and the price. So yeah,
Right. So thank you so much for joining us and
yeah,
sharing your insights.
yeah,
Private label
absolutely.
eyewear is such an exciting way for practices to differentiate themselves, right? And create
Yeah,
something that really, really resonates with their patients. If you, as a practice owner, as an eye care professional, if you're watching this and you want to learn more, I encourage you to reach out directly to Edward and SHO EyeWorks. They
yeah,
can answer your questions, they can walk you through the process, and they can help you decide if private label is the collection that is right for your practice, right? You're going to help them
yeah.
pick out their curated collection of frames. So, Edward, we will list your contact information and website for our listeners to learn more, or if they have any other questions. Thank you so much for joining us and for
Thank you
answering
so much.
all of
Yeah,
our questions. So stay tuned. I'll be continuing these private label conversations with other companies. So if you want to compare and find which is the perfect partner for your practice, until next time, I'm Dr. Diana Canto-Sims, and I hope you feel inspired to take the next step in building your own private frame brand. And I will see you again. Thank you so much, Edward.
thank
Bye.
you. Bye, everyone.